Hi Aquarius, I hope that you're all doing well. We are here with a timeless reading. The first card that we have out is Seven of Cups. And we also have the Tower. Seeing 10 of Cups, okay. All right. I'm gonna get one more card and then we will start talking about what I'm seeing here. We have the Tower, we have the Devil, and we also have the Empress and Judgment. Those are the major arcanas that we have here. Oh, and we have Hanged Man on the bottom of the deck. All right. So, starting off first with Seven of Cups. This is a time when there can be turmoil, there can be confusion, you can be trying to figure out what's what. You can feel like there's a difference between what may be something solidly, like a solid, conclusive understanding of what's going on and how you feel and what's what for you versus what's not. I'm seeing the Devil be here, so what this means is that when we have something in the environment that is painted gold but is not solid gold all the way through, it can throw up some confusion. So you have something that's going to be the real deal versus something that kind of looks like it but isn't actually, and then confuses you and you're like, well, which one is it? I'm seeing 10 of Cups be connected with this. So this can be something that looks like your pursuit of happiness that really is, versus the Devil be something that looks like it but really isn't, and needing to discern the difference. But it can be difficult to discern the difference because the Devil can really dress up in a way that can influence us to believe that it's the real deal. You get close enough to it and then you recognize that it has been false all along. So we can go down a path thinking this is going to be the thing that makes me happy. You start doing it and you're like, wow, that wasn't the truth, but I believed that it was. Seeing the Tower above the Devil feels like this is becoming apparent in some way. It feels like there had been something going on within the environment that you could have really thought was the way to go here. Even if it's just for a split second, for some of you, this can be something longer, more drawn out here. You could have thought that this was what was going to make you happy. And then with the Tower above, it can be that really turning around. It can be that really, you seeing that something is very different than you had thought it was. So it feels like the Tower is bringing this awareness of what something is versus what you may have thought. So it can be recognizing from this standpoint of me thinking that this would be it. I went and made a move. And now I'm realizing what was actually motivating me to do that. When the Devil is motivating something that we're doing, it can be like, I think that by attaching or connecting to this person, that this is really going to be the way that I find love and that I feel love and that I experience that. Meanwhile, you get to a point where you recognize it was just codependency. You recognize maybe something wasn't as healthy as you thought that it was. You recognize something was coming from a place that was actually motivated by a vice of yours or by fear and wasn't the true light. And because we have Neptune here, these are all of the ways that we can be tricked by the way that we fantasize about things, thinking not taking a closer look. With Neptune, it brings about this a very foggy, confusing energy where it's like, if I like squint my eyes a little bit here and tilt my head a little bit and the sun's hitting it just right, I think that might be it. And then you get closer and you realize that that's really not the case. And it can be a time where it feels like things are crumbling down because of it. So you recognize what was motivating this choice all along. I really thought that I was picking the right thing here. I really thought I was going to be happy with this. Meanwhile, it comes from a place of wounding. It comes from a place of darkness. This is shadow energy that comes up. But also, too, the beautiful thing about this is that it illuminates what is empowering versus what is not. And it can be a time of recognizing what's been going on all along here. And this can help you make a choice now that you've become aware of it. What I'm also seeing too is that you're no longer in the dark anymore. You're very well aware of what's going on here. Getting to that point anyway, if you're not totally there, but it feels like going along, maybe thinking everything was fine, and then getting to this point where you're like, wow, I can really see everything for what it is, and I'm seeing where that was coming from, and I'm recognizing what was behind it. So it was like a facade of some sort. You see behind the mask, and it's the devil that's there. And you're like, you really got me this time. That really tricked me. I really thought that was it, and it's not. And this can be a time too where you, in retrospect, you look back and you're like, I've been ignoring my intuition, or I noticed this, I clocked that, I swept it under the rug because I didn't want it to be true. I wanted this to be real. I wanted this to be what I wanted it to be. Meanwhile, you're being led down this road with your eyes shut, and this with the Tower feels like a moment when your eyes are wide open here. There can be a part of you that still wants to fight this though. There can be a part of you that's like, maybe I can just close my eyes again and this can go away. It feels like moving down a path, not being totally aware, something now clicking into place where you're seeing what's going on, and then you being in a choice point where you can either close your eyes again or you can keep them open, and that be what's going on here. But just know that if you get to this point and you close your eyes again, because for some of you, this can be somebody that's coming through wanting to connect, but you already know what the situation is. If you close your eyes again, it can be a time where you go back and with your eyes shut, you're following that path again, only to come back to this point. So this can be a time where you go back into the cycle, or it can be a time where things change from this point on. And that's the choice here. What is going to motivate the move that you're making? Is this going to come from a place of fear? Is this going to come from a place of attachment? Is this going to come from a place of self-delusion? Or is this going to come from a place of light and honesty? How are you going to make this move? So yeah, in this moment where it feels like your eyes have been opened, there can be a part of you that you realize that there was a part of you that kind of knew all along, but you wanted to have your eyes shut. You wanted to have your eyes closed moving through this. So it can be that time again where you look back and you're like, I did notice these things. I didn't want it to mean what I knew it meant. And for some of you, as I said before, you're at this point where you can decide to close your eyes again, or you can keep them open. And that's your choice what you do here at this point. But if you do happen to close your eyes, the situation is not going to change. It's going to be the same thing. But you get to decide what motivates you. You can close your eyes and you can do the same thing again, or this can be a time when you really focus on that thing that's going to get you to where you want to be, where you really focus on your 10 of Cups for real, rather than something that is never going to really feel like that. So in a way, you can tell yourself, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. Meanwhile, the choice is ultimately eyes closed, closing my eyes again, or keeping them open. You can take a closer look at this. It's going to be very obvious to you, or you can ignore it and you get to have the choice there. But this tower will be something that is stretched out to continue if there's not a willingness to keep your eyes open through this. I'm wondering too if this is one of those times where you're like, if I can just close my eyes again, I can tell myself like, I'm happy with this, I'm happy with this, I'm good with this is what I want, this is my pursuit of happiness. But like, as soon as you go to open your eyes even a little bit, you see that that's not the case and you want to close your eyes again. It feels like the devil is this VR headset that you have on that's showing you what you want to see, but as soon as you take it off and you look at what's really going on, it's not at all that, and you just want to put it back on so you don't have to see. And you're like, well, which one is the real reality? When if you take a closer look, you know what's what here. But there can be a part of you that's like, you still want to be in the fantasy. We have 7 of Cups and we have the Devil and the 10 of Cups. I still want to be buying into the fantasy of this. There can at least be that part of yourself that wants that. It will not ultimately feel empowering because you'll know that you're lying to yourself here. And it can be a time too where you can feel shocked, you know, if you have that headset on for a while and you take it off, it's like you forgot that you had the headset on. It comes off, you see what's really going on. It can feel really stressful. You can use that to motivate you. You can use that in a way that's productive. You just have to pay attention to what's motivating the moves that you're making. And this is an area where it's very easy to get caught up in things. I'm seeing with Neptune, this is a very Neptunian process going through this. But what's not going to happen is you keep the headset on and magically your reality is going to turn into that. That's not what's going to happen. They're not going to collapse into one another here because one of them is real, one of them is the truth, and one of them is not. So if you are to take a closer look at this and do something about it, it can be helpful, but the only way that that's going to happen is if you square with yourself and you say, I want the truth above all, show me the truth, you will see it. If you want anything beyond, if you want anything other than that, if you want to believe the lie, if you want to believe the fantasy to keep feeding into it, if you want anything other than the truth and the light and love here, if you want anything besides that, this situation will continue to feed that to you. And even though it very much lacks the substance that you need for this to be sustaining you and feel satiated, it's something that we can continue the charade if we want to. And this feels too like one of those times where if you really are not in a place of absolute truth with yourself, you can come away being like, I just feel so confused about this situation. I don't know what's what. As soon as you take a closer look, you will see exactly what's going on here. Exactly what's going on. And you can do something about it if you want to. Now, why would there be resistance? If I'm breaking it down in this way and it's like, why wouldn't somebody just take the goggles off and look at what's really going on and be moving around in that reality? The reason why is in accepting the truth of this situation, there's going to be needing to reconcile with the pain that's involved in accepting that. And this can be the way that we escape from it. Put it back on so I don't have to see. So I don't have to be present to that. Take me anywhere else. So let me continue to avoid that pain, which through that pain, that's the only way, the only place to go in order to heal this ultimately. So there can be a sense of resolution. But without that, there is no resolution. So it comes to a place of being that choice. Take the goggles off, it can hurt for a little bit, and then you can move through. And this is something where you can heal through the process, or it can be something where you keep the headset on and everything is deteriorating in the real life. But it's not going to go away. It just is running away and an avoiding with Neptune here. This is the shadow side of Neptune. I don't want to face it, so I'm going to find a way to escape from it, and this is the way that I'm escaping from it, because it's just too painful otherwise. Meanwhile, we know deep down there's no escaping from it. It needs to be addressed, it needs to be faced, and that is the only way that this can be integrated. That's the only way that it can be healed. But it can be a very seductive lie that you may want to buy into to not have to face this fully and truly. So this is a moment where a deep evaluation can be done. The thing about the devil too is that it shows up and it's like, this is what you want, isn't it? Like, I'm giving you everything that you want. And then it's like you don't feel that deeper connection, that sentiment of something really being there solidly that you're connected with. It may kind of look like it. Again, you can like sort of believe it a little bit, but in your heart, you know that it's not the real deal. So if you are willing to look at this, this is a moment where things can change, where you can really connect with what you seek. Which the thing with the devil too is that this can be a feeling that we're chasing. It can be a person that we're chasing. It can be a scenario that we're chasing. It's going to be something externally that we're chasing. And motivated by that. Even with devil and with the Knight of Cups, it feels like programming that's running the choices being made, rather than a higher consciousness. But it's being broken in this moment. And so you see through the cracks of that. And this is a moment where you have choice, where that comes in and you get to do that. So it will be at this point a choice whether you close your eyes or keep them open. But yeah, having Neptune there can feel very strange because of the way that it mirrors fantasies. And discerning the difference between what is a fantasy that is not in reality materializing in this situation versus what is something that I want that this really is. The situation that we're in, that we want to be in, that we like, that we enjoy, that we feel connected with, that resonates with us, that's actually happening, versus the delusion. Versus that's not really what's going on, but that's what I'm going to tell myself. And how we can believe that if that's what we want badly enough. Because of not wanting to face the reality of the situation. If we face the reality of this situation, that's really where you can make moves and be proactive and build what you want, create what you want, experience what you want. This is a place that you can play and you can move things around with the devil, but it's not really going to develop into that tangible experience that you want, into that felt experience that you want. Can even get you very close to it, but it's not really going to be it. And this can breed obsessive behavior as well. Feeling very focused on this. It's like all consuming even. Where does the rest of your life go? And that's is something to be mindful of too when something is so extremely magnetic. And it's something perceived as outside of yourself. Connected with the sentiment of attachment. You can never get enough of something that almost works. That is connected with the devil. Always stay hungry for it. And this can be that moment where you take yourself out of this game, or you can continue playing. And that's where the moment leaves us. You can seek higher truth here. You can ascend through this process, or it is something where you can keep running around within it. I'm looking at Mars and I'm looking at Venus and also Pluto here. And we have Capricorn and we have Neptune. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love and I hope to catch you guys next time.